All right. Hi guys. I see I have some people joining us already. Welcome to Better Copper CV Sunday. So we have others joining very soon, but I would love you to, share this link to some of your friends. Those starting off in tech, those that are already experienced, but they want to also get a hang of how to better optimize their CV. Those currently looking out for, job opportunities. Those applying to roles, whether junior roles, internship roles, senior level roles, and you're looking out for someone that can preview and give them tips and best practices on how to get hired by building up the best possible CV they could have, right, for applying for some of these jobs, right. So share the link. Let's have others join in and learn, right, and benefit from these sessions. We're going to be reviewing a couple of CVs, right? In the next 2 to 3 minutes, I believe we'll get started with the first CV review. So, yeah, let's have your friends join in. If you can hear me and you're currently on the Discord server, Better Copper Discord server, Top Universe Discord server, do well to share, right? It's a free session, and we really believe in, you know, sharing this kind of opportunities to everyone that would benefit from it. Okay. So yeah, go ahead and share this on the servers. All right. Please do that while we wait for the others. Drop a message in the chat if you can hear me. Good evening for those of you joining from this part of the world, basically. Yeah, drop a message in the chat if you can hear me. All right. All right, guys. So I believe we're good. I'm going to share my screen right now so we can get started with the first review, right? Yeah. So the CVs we have are currently, let's see. Just give me a minute and I will share my screen because we want to take these, reviews step by step, right? So if you find out you are also making, similar mistakes, yeah, you can go ahead and make those, corrections, right? Rectify those. Those mistakes from your end. Okay. And of course, we're speaking from experience, applying for jobs and also um, working for companies as recruiters, right. So if you have any questions, do well to drop your questions. If we can't provide all the answers to your questions, you can always attend to some of your questions on the Discord server, okay, on the Better Copper Discord server. So I believe that will be shared in the chat, right? So you can always come in with your questions. If you're looking out for jobs as well, we have a lot of links, right, to potential jobs that are shared on the Discord server as well as the WhatsApp channel, the WhatsApp channel. So Amaka, if you can hear me, please go ahead and help us share, right? Amaka, Anita, please help us share those links in the chat so we can have others join in, right. All right, so I'll be sharing my screen so we can get started with the review. All right, so I have two CVs that were shared with me, right. I'm going to take the first one. I think the first one I have here, this CV belongs to a product designer. So this looks amazing. Let me share my screen as we proceed to take this one first. Okay. Yeah, so good evening, Obasi Ikechukwu. Good evening, Okolo Chinamerem. Hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. Let me pull up my screen. This is it, a new window right here. Okay. All right, so I'm sure you can see my screen. Let me know in the chat if you can see my screen, please. I want everyone to, of course, follow up with me on this. If it's visible enough, let me know. If it's not visible enough, I know most of you might be joining from your mobile, so uh, let me try to expand. I think this is much better without my image. All right. So this is more visible. Of course, you can see we've blurred out some of the info here, right? Because we personally believe that leaving those details on this call would not be best. Of course, I mean that's I believe that I believe should be um, one of the number one things to do, right? Data privacy to avoid spamming. All right. Yeah. So this CV belongs to a product designer. Obviously, we have the name of that person, right? We have the name of the owner of the CV. We have the product designer role. This is the role. This is very important. It's something we always, recommend that talents, put on their CV, right? When you're applying for a job, it makes sense that the role you have on that CV corresponds with the role that was put out there, for that job. Okay. You might have a product designer CV, but then you probably see a role for a graphic designer. I mean, these are two different things. Okay. Although you might have the skill and the talent to fit in, it makes sense that you focus on, applying for jobs that fit your role. At least I would say 90%, fit your role. Okay. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with actually tweaking, your CV to, suit a particular role that you believe probably 80, 90, or even 100% that you can handle. Okay. So I've seen a lot of people do that. I myself, I've actually done that in the past as well. For example, working as a software engineer, you probably see working as a backend engineer, you see maybe like a contract role for a few months, focus on front end, and it's something you can handle. You like the pay scale. You also believe 100% that this is something you can pick up and you can deliver on this. Okay. Yeah, you can easily, have a version of your CV, customized to front end, software developer or front end engineer, right? So if you are able to get that role and you can deliver on that role, it makes sense to say I am applying for this role with a new copy of my CV, specifically, designed or worked on to target this particular role. It makes a lot of sense, and I will discuss that later. I'll tell you why. Okay, so let's look at this. We started off with the experience. I was hoping to see an objective, right? Of course, we have the phone number, we have the email, we have the LinkedIn profile, which is great. We have the Twitter profile. Okay, so I think as a product designer, it makes sense if you give us a link to your portfolio, right? So if you give us a link to your portfolio, maybe on Behance, maybe on Dribble, right? Maybe on your personal website if you have one, right? That would make perfect sense because I mean we want to actually see that this is something you've done, and we want to see the quality of your work, right? So putting out a portfolio there with your previous work actually speaks a lot. It shows that you have the experience and you can actually do the job, right? Yeah, and your potential hire would probably take a look at that and say, okay, let us try this out. Let's ask him or her to deliver on a simple, maybe 2 or 3 page screen, right? Just to see if the quality of the work aligns with what we see on the portfolio, right? Because the fact is, anybody can actually work on the designs on your portfolio. Okay, but that is more like an evidence to say, I can do this. I've done it before, and I want you guys to give me an opportunity to prove this to you. Okay. But yeah, this person actually kicked off from the experience. If you can put in the link, right, to your portfolio as well as the objective. Okay, so objective is not like, I mean, it's not that it's something compulsory to have. Um, we usually recommend that people state their objective. What exactly? Who are you? Tell us who you are. Right? Pitch to us. Okay, so in the objective section, or the summary section, as so many people would also prefer to call it. You are more like pitching to to the hiring manager. You're pitching to you're pitching to whoever is looking at your CV, right? I am A, I am B. Okay. I love to bring this kind of value to the companies, the startups, the enterprise I have worked with, right? And I look forward to putting the best, right? Bringing up cool suggestions, amazing ideas, right? Putting in the effort to actually deliver, within the time frame. I love to just pitch yourself, right? This is your industry. You probably know how best to present, yourself. If you're asked to, pitch yourself, you know how best to do that. So please, it's a great one to have. Okay. Yeah, I always love to, read some of those descriptions to see how people describe themselves and describe the value they are bringing into the business. Okay. All right. So let's look at the experience, product design intern. This is this Skula LLC Nigeria. Okay, so the primary objective, working remotely as a product designer. I have a thing for simple, CV design, right? Simple. This is not very simple, right? These designs are not very necessary, right? I hope you use a word processing tool for this, because if you don't use a word processing tool, some of these ATS solutions might not be able to capture every single detail you have in here. So I hope that is what you used. The icons are not necessary. Yes, I know you're a product designer, but trust me, it is better to have a simple CV that these solutions or this software can read and capture the wordings properly, than to have a wonderfully designed CV, and at the end of the day you keep getting rejections. Okay, so I can't really tell, because I haven't put this software into this CV into any software to test, but I hope you actually use a word processing tool. Okay, all right. So working remotely as a product design intern, collaborating with the team lead, project manager, and developers to create intuitive, user-friendly software. Okay, conducting user research. Maybe you would have put this in bullets, right? And I think this is more like the way you wrote it out here. It's more like telling us your responsibility. I'll probably call that, okay, these are my responsibilities, right? The term primary objective is also fine, but I feel maybe you would have, just given a better description to say, okay, I was tasked to do ABC, right? I worked on this type of solution. We don't know the type of solution you actually worked on. Is it a commerce solution? Is it I don't know, is it a fintech solution, right? Now we know that you are actually working here as an intern, right? 2023 till date. We actually understand, the pattern, right, or the kind of things you do, user research, designing wireframes and user flows based on user needs. But we have no idea, right, the type of solutions you've worked on. Now, I've seen a lot of CVs where the people go into the details to say, I implemented this type of stuff, right, for the fintech that I work with, right? I was responsible, or I and a team of engineers were responsible to implement A, B, and C. I and a team of product designers were responsible, in designing the checkout screens or the checkout page on Flutterwave, on the Flutterwave app or the Flutterwave screen or the Flutterwave solution, right? You see, that is more specific. Now I know that you worked in Flutterwave and this is what you did, right? And of course, I know what that looks like. So yeah, that's mind blowing. It makes sense. Okay. So I think you should give us more context, except you are not allowed to do that, maybe by your company. Then you should give us what you are allowed to actually present. Okay. So what did you do? All right. Product designer, Grabem USA. Now it makes sense that you add the locations. That is good. At least you give us some additional context. Maybe if you can also add the website, which is not compulsory, but that makes sense as well. Just to help the recruiter also understand that this is legit. Okay. They can click on that and it takes them to the website. It's optional, but it makes sense. Right. You're making the life of the recruiter easy. Okay. When they just click on that, they see that, okay, you worked here. It's a valid company, right? So I see you also have 2023 till date. So I don't know, maybe you run these two simultaneously. It is better to be more detailed with your dates, right? You can add the month. Okay, you can add the month when you started, maybe January this till March this. Okay, I see you probably run these two together. Depending on the company you are applying to, this might not be accepted. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you are an intern here, but you are not an intern here. So you see, you have to be very clear on this. Working remotely as a product designer. So I think I see some repetition. Working remotely as a product design. Okay, so this is intern, this is designer, identifying user needs through research, based findings and client interviews. Okay, sometimes when you also put in these responsibilities, it's good to state what you did and the impact, in the company. This is what recruiters really love to see, right? I worked on um, the checkout screen for a mobile payment, or yeah, like a mobile payment solution, right? And the adjustment, to the screen, the improvements that I worked on, or the improvement that I and my team, or a team I led, right, worked on, led to the increase in checkout actions, right, by the customers or by the users, right? So the impact is actually what matters the most. Trust me. Okay, what you did might be very cool, right? Or what you've done might be cool, it might be superb, you did a wonderful stuff out there, but then the impact is what matters the most to most recruiters. Oh, so you actually you were able to optimize the this particular screen or this particular flow or the user journey, and you mean it increased the retention of the user on our website, on our application. That is what matters. Trust me. Okay. So please try as much as possible to also include the impact, not just your responsibility, but as well as the impact. Okay. So this is also all right. This is 2021 to 2023. If you put in the date as I mentioned, much better. January to December. Okay. January to October. Okay. So if they want to know how long you actually spent, it's good if they can narrow it down to the months as well. All right. Um, Okay, so this is many. Okay, so main notes. Okay, main notes. Uh, is this an error? Yeah, it is an error, right? That should be furniture. Okay, so that's an error. You should correct that if you're on this call, watching me. Yeah, you should correct this. Okay, so it's a new business. So now you're giving us a description of this business. Okay, from my observation, you did not do that for the previous businesses. So, except maybe there is something special about this, I think you should also go ahead and if you're giving us some description, I don't think that's necessary. Just give us the website, that's fine. Okay, we don't need the description from you. Give us your responsibility and also tell us how the work you've done, added some value to the business. Okay, so UI UX designer, all right, 2021 to 2022. Okay, so your most recent job is an internship, but you've done all this. Okay, okay. I think you actually have a lot of experience. I'm wondering why you accepted an internship, right? This is a question that you'll be asked as well. I believe it is for a reason, obviously, but you should be ready to answer those questions when they come up. Okay, so I see you have at this point you began to give us some description. You can just put in the website, put your objective. I think I would prefer to call this responsibility. Describe this very well, to compare and outshine existing firms. I don't think this is the kind of term you want to use here, right? To compare and outshine existing firms in this field by the quality of the products, website and app. So I think you should tell us what you did, okay? Tell us what you did and tell us the impact. All right? Tell us what you did, tell us the impact. Okay. Um, yeah, so for the education, Bachelor of Technology, Physics, Electronics, Federal University of Technology, 2015 to 2020. Okay. Okay. So if you have any professional certification, any awards, right? Maybe your hobby, not compulsory, but yeah, your hobby is actually not even. I don't think it's necessary. Uh, If you are, called on for the next round of the interview, those are questions that the recruiter might actually ask on the call. So I don't think it's necessary. Hobby referees and stuff. I don't think those are actually necessary. Now the skill part makes sense, but you know what makes more sense? If you can break down this skill into detailed categorizations, right? Now when I say detailed categorizations, I'm referring to you breaking down the skills to like let's say the soft skills, right? So if you can break it down to if you have project management skills as a designer, as a product designer, you probably engage in some kind of project management. How do you walk through a design project, from beginning to the end? I mean, you need to have some project management skills. At least, even if you don't have a formal training for it, there should be a way, you do that, because you definitely find yourself doing that a lot, right? Changing design screens, making adjustments and all that. You're basically going from you can be operating in an agile form depending on your organization, but of course you should have some project management skills, right? So you want to include that, right? Your project management skills, you have some interpersonal skills, right, which are your soft skills basically. Then the tools, right? Maybe the technical skills. Okay, the tools. So you mentioned mostly the tools, I believe, right? I can see, the Adobe Creative Suite. You say very good. Okay, Figma, excellent. Protopie, very good. Okay, user experience. All right. So I think user experience should not be. Okay. So I think this is where the separation starts from. Okay. So you have Figma, the Creative Suite, the Prototype tool for your prototyping. And you have user experience, interface design. This is usability testing. Okay. Usability. That is wrong. So correct that. Product design, excellent. User research. Okay. So I'm sure you should be able to also differentiate between the product design and the user interface design, because these are questions that would come up when you write it this way. User research, A/B testing, A/B testing, which is something I think you already have under UX, right? Wireframing, aesthetics, okay. Um, I'm beginning to wonder if aesthetics is a skill. I think it's something that it's just like saying selecting colors, right? I mean, it's a good to have, but that basically comes under your design process, right? Yeah. So I think you should review this, and if you can break it down, categorize the skills. That makes sense. So some of the things I will just do like a general review again. I want you to be able to mention the quantifiable results, right? The achievements in those projects, those places you worked on. We know your role, we know your responsibilities, maybe outlined in bullets, and then you also tell us, okay, this is the impact. This is the number of users that was impacted by this change, right? Um, or this is the performance improvements, on the system after you have done what you did, right? Yeah, so you should just provide a clearer picture of this will definitely provide a clearer picture of your contributions. Trust me, okay? For the skill categorization, I mentioned that already. The design of your CV, I think you can go with something plain. We don't need all those designs. It might even be difficult to read with all those lines everywhere. Yeah. Then of course, uh, add the link to your portfolio if you have one. That would make perfect sense with all the roles you've handled over the years. I believe you should have one. So please include that there. Okay. What else? What else? What else? And of course, always make sure the roles you are applying for. If it's written UI UX designer, make sure you have UI UX designer. If it's senior UI UX designer or senior product designer, make sure you follow that accordingly. Also, some jobs you take on, try as much as possible to make sure it does not affect your branding. If you have passed the level of an intern, maybe you should have a reason for taking up the role of an intern, right? I believe you should have a reason for taking up the role of an intern. But if you just took this up because of the pay, I think maybe you should actually spend more time applying for more jobs, right? If you probably left your previous job, because if you take a look at this, it's a bit confusing, right? UX designer, up to the point where we have product designer intern. When you've done other roles, So I believe you have your reason. This is just me saying you should be more detailed. Probably in the description here, as well as describing the impact. right? So it doesn't look. I mean, so a product manager, so a hiring manager doesn't, get confused, right, while performing this review. Hope that makes sense. So this, yeah, I hope that makes sense. Have a wonderful evening. Let's move on to the next. If you have any questions, you saw this CV and you have some questions about some of the things I mentioned, do well to drop your questions in the chat while I prepare to share the second CV. All right. Any questions? I'm looking at the charts and I'm about to share the second one. If you are the owner of that CV, you have some clarifying questions. Do well to ask. All right. Let's move on to the next. I think this is a much longer CV. So let me share my screen again. I don't think we have any questions currently. So I'm going to share my screen, share the other CV, the second CV, so we can take that one step at a time. All right. Okay. So let me know in the chat if you can see my screen before I proceed. Let me know in the chat. I can see I have about 10 of you watching. Um, yeah, just drop a message in the chat if you can hear me. All right. I want to see a message in the chat if you can hear me, just to be sure, right, that you can hear me. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so this is for the second CV, right? Okay, technology enthusiast. I think I will circle back to that. I understand when someone says, hey, I'm a technology enthusiast. That makes perfect sense, right? Now, except you have applications, like job openings, where they are looking for technology enthusiasts. My recommendation is, you focus on changing this when you are applying for the job. Okay, if you're applying for a job of let's say an AI professional, or a machine learning expert, or a DevOps expert, you might have the knowledge in all these areas, right? But when people look for talents, except they intentionally say, okay, we need anybody who is an all-rounder, which is it's not something you see every day, right? So they people have a problem, like the companies have a problem, they need a solution, and they know the type of role that they are looking out to fill, right? So maybe we have a front-end issue, okay, we need more front-end developers. We have a back-end issue, we need more back-end developers. When we put out a job looking for backend developers, we expect that the first round of review probably will use a software, we put in all the CVs and we filter, right? We expect to see that based on the requirements that we have stated in the JD, the job description, based on the requirements we've stated on there, based on the role title, we want to take maybe the first 50% out of the 100% CVs that we received. That filtering is going to check for the title of the job, the requirements, the tools, right? The expectations is going to compare with what you have on your CV. And if it doesn't really, meet up to the requirement, then you're filtered out of that, list. You might be the best for that job, right? You might be the best for that job, but it's a good idea to make sure that your CV is tailored to that specific role. Before I proceed, let me see. I can see we have some questions here. In the case of someone with little or no experience working in a proper organization, I mean someone with just basic certifications or knowledge of concepts. How do you go about such? I would always recommend you go for an internship where you can then, it can be free, it can be paid internships where you get to actually have your hands on something after you've gotten the proper training, right? Go for an internship, because you want to have a portfolio. You don't want to apply for a job with 2,000 candidates, and you fall out among the people with a 10% chance of scaling through, right? So if you know what to do, you know the right thing to do, you go for it. Go for that internship, free internship. Reach out to founders, new founders on LinkedIn. Join their startup, and build with them for like 3 to 6 months, right? Get your hands dirty on the thing, and have something tangible that you can put on your CV, even if it's just one experience. But then you put the quantifiable, results. You state your responsibility, state what you did. You state the results, right? The outcome of that thing you did and the impact on the company, right? Even if it's just for one role, it is good, right? At least you are able to state that this is where I'm at and this is where I'm going to, right? Based on your objective or the summary of your profile as well. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Let's move on. Yes, we have the objective. Okay, result-oriented technology enthusiast with over 6 years. 6 years. Do we need the? Okay, I don't think we need that. So 6 years of experience working. Okay, with working knowledge in IT operations. Okay, in IT operations. I see. Okay. With IT operations, IT business strategy, business analysis, product development, business intelligence, and IT operations. Okay. So I think we have a bit of yeah. This is repeated, right? This is a repetition. So IT operation, and I think you have a lot of things here, right? Now it is good if you learn to generalize um, in different areas, right? It makes sense because having knowledge of different things gives you an advantage. But when you're looking for a job or you're applying for a role and this company expects a certain role, make sure your CV is tailored to that role. Right now, this CV doesn't really look tailored to any role in mind, right? Um, yeah, I like the fact that you have experience in several areas and you're trying to show out there that you have all this experience. But trust me, when you are actually applying for roles, 80% or 90% of the time, most of these companies expect someone that fits into what they are looking for, right? Yeah, so just have that in mind. Okay, so working knowledge in IT operations, IT business strategy, business analysis. I can see some spacing here. Probably it's too much, right, compared to the others. You can fix that as well. Business intelligence and IT operations experience in delivering strategic solutions with a major focus on quality. Now, this is good. Experience in delivering strategic solutions with a major focus on quality. That is good. But of course, you don't actually get to. So when you are writing this, you might want to also make adjustments depending on what the company is looking for. If they are specific on what they are looking for, maybe they are looking for timely deliverables. They're looking for someone that can deliver on time. They're looking for someone with A, B, or C. Um, Even though this is very good, this might not speak to what they're looking for, and they might not care, right? You want the company reading through, or the HR manager, the hiring manager, anybody going through your CV. You want them to actually see where you are heading to, and you want where you are heading to also be where they are heading to, right? So you want to be aligned with the person reading your CV so that they can take their time to actually go through every other thing. Because if they come to your CV and they go through this, right? Meanwhile, they're looking for a backend software engineer, right? Or a DevOps guy, or a business analyst, right? Or a data analyst. There's a bit of a confusion because they don't really know the exact place that you fit into until they get to your professional skill. Now, I know you're going to have a lot of things here as well, but adding a summary is a way to just make them understand that this is who I am. I am who you are looking for, but you can go down there to see more skills, right? Go down, to the other sections to see more details about me. Okay. So your professional skills, strong technical experience in design. Okay, hold on. Strong technical experience in design, implementation, and delivery of complex multiple products and solutions tailored to customer requirements. I think you need to do some work on your wordings. Okay, strong technical experience in design, implementation, and delivery of complex multiple. Maybe you can say complex. Yeah, when you say complex multiple products, I don't know what that means, right? Uh, Complex multiple products and solutions tailored to customer requirements. Okay, I think you should do some wordings. Okay, there's a bit of confusion here. Extensive knowledge and experience in improvements and enterprise solution schemes across several platforms. Okay, so personally, I think I have some issues with the words you're using, right? Yes, I understand what you mean by some of these stuffs, but then putting it together with some other things, creates a bit of a confusion, right? Yes, you might be saying, oh, maybe you don't just have enough experience to understand the things I'm saying, blah blah blah. Yes, I think some people might not understand the things you're saying, but if this makes sense, right, if this makes perfect sense, I think I would understand what you're trying to describe, right? So enterprise solution schemes across several platforms. You should work on the wordings, okay? Implementing solutions, okay? Monitoring and BI solutions, okay? So you implemented solutions, specifically monitoring and BI solutions, right? Business intelligence solutions with, okay? Implementing solutions, monitoring and BI solutions, okay? Implementing solutions, then maybe process. Okay, no, this is still the same thing I am mentioning, right? Your wordings, okay? Process with compliance. So maybe you mean implementing, maybe business, processes, right? With compliance to respective standards, PCI DSS standard, CBN, right? CBN would give you policies, okay? If you're building solutions, you probably follow, CBN policies. CBN itself is not going to stand as what you describe here, standards. Okay, they give you policies and you follow those policies. Now, PCI DSS, yes, gives you the standards, right? So I work in the bank, right, as a senior architect. So I know I understand what you're trying to describe here, but I don't think you're describing this properly. All right. Excellent communication, presentation, and interpersonal skills, including the ability to interact, communicate, and build relationship with internal and external clients. Okay, good. Excellent communication, presentation, and interpersonal skills, including the ability to interact, communicate, and build relationships with internal and external. I think that already falls under excellent communication. But yeah, you added additional context, which is okay, right? This should start with capital letter K, not small letter K. Knowledge and experience in project management methodologies and use of collaborative tools such as Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Visio, Microsoft Project. Okay, so you can also use like the full terms MS, right? Microsoft MS can mean a lot of things. Okay, but yeah, I mean attached with Teams, Visio, and Project. Anybody that knows these tools will definitely understand you. But most times you don't just expect this CV would probably go through a set of HRO, workers first. Maybe they don't know some of these things you're mentioning. Maybe you can add a bit of a description so that they don't end up filtering this out when you actually know what you're saying. Yeah, so it's good to add some additional details, and it makes sense if these details align with what you have on the job description, as I said earlier. All right. Additional areas of expertise include service management, digital transformation, enterprise architecture, okay, um, quality assurance, cost benefit, maybe that can be a small letter B, cost benefit analysis, and training. Okay, so I still think you should, reward most of the things here, right? If I am reviewing your CV, trust me, I've done a lot of this stuff. I've done a lot of, CV reviews, been in the position to actually perform, interviews, right? And these are some of the things I speak to, okay? For top brands, right? Top brands in Nigeria. And these are some of the things I speak to, okay? When you actually write some things, the person reviewing or going through your CV should read and understand clearly. So maybe you should give this to some other people after your reward. Ask them to read, ask them if they understand what you're trying to say. Make sure that understanding is there. All right. So looking at the experience, okay, you worked as a technical consultant, team lead, September 20. I like this. Details, September 2022 till date. Okay. I think this can also be, you can follow the same case you're using here, right? So, Inlax Limited, application deployment management. Okay. So you already have this casing. You can also follow the case here. D can be capital letter. IT service management. So, okay. So I think you did a lot of things here, right? So you wore so many hats here. You were the team lead. Okay. Oh, till date. So you are the team lead. Nice. You do application deployment management. Maybe this is if you have like a single title in your job, right? You can include that, and then this can also come in as some of the other things you actually oversee, right? Some of the other things you actually manage. So application deployment management, okay. um, is that some DevOps thing, right? Were you managing the process? Were you doing more like a managerial thing, and then you have the engineers or the people doing the actual the actual deployment working under you, right? IT service management, solution delivery, right? I think you need some space here as well. Then PMO management, okay? So responsible for coordinating all team members' activities to achieving units and organizational goals. Okay, units, you have the and here, so units and organizational goals. All right. So manage, maintain, and troubleshoot software applications to ensure optimal performance. Offer training and assistance to users to enhance. So you actually covered a lot of areas, right? You covered a lot of areas as a team lead, right? You covered a lot of areas. I believe you work with some people, so you should also maybe include, work with a team of professionals, a team of experts, to do A, B, and C. If it's an individual effort, if it's a one-man team, right, then that's yeah. But if it's a group thing, right, you also need to acknowledge the fact that yes, you worked with these guys to do A, B, C, and then show us the quantifiable results or impacts on the company, right? I did A and it resulted in B. I did B and it resulted in C. Okay, so I would recommend you do the same thing for the others. So I see you also worked in the same company as a senior technical officer. All right. So you need to also do things, where you state what you did and the impact of what you have done on the organization. I mean, yeah. So ATM monitoring, right? Okay. You did some pre-sale. Nice. Solutions architect. You did some pre-sale. I think you actually wore a lot of hats, right? Which means you have a lot of experience. And I now see why you went ahead with the technology enthusiast thing. But trust me, that will not really fly most times when you apply for, probably some remote international jobs, right? I mean, it might work. Don't get me wrong, right? You might have your connections, you might have your links, but you should rightfully tell us what you do as a role, right? Technology enthusiast only shows your love for something. It is not a specific role, except the company needs that. All right. So I see where you now stated the achievement, right? I like the way you stated the achievement here. So let's see what you did. Deployed bespoke solutions, all right, to improve banking operation products, which reduce time wasting and decreased TAT time, okay, by over 50%. So this is what I'm talking about, right? This is what I'm talking about. Okay, so design bespoke solutions to improve. Yeah, so you deployed right here, you designed, okay. Okay, so ATM Insight monitoring tool to improve ATM uptime, which reduces downtime and increases profitability. Great, right? Designed bespoke solutions. This is the name of the solution, I believe, to improve banking operation products, which reduce time wasting and decrease. Okay, okay, this is good as well. Deployed, maintained, and trained clients. Okay, so I think maybe the casing here, clients on monitoring solutions, right? So small letter CMS, okay, to enhance ATM operations okay, in over 10 banks, right? 10 banks, okay, in over 10 banks in Nigeria, and this reduced, okay, TAT in banking operations. All right. So these are some of the tools you worked with. Postman is together, right? MS Projects, MS Teams, MS Office, Jira Service Management, Swagger UI. You did not mention, the maybe you use some. This is an API design tool. API design tool, Jira. Okay, maybe you worked with some programming languages. Except maybe all you did is focus on the API design. If you use some programming languages, you can also include that, right? But this achievement section is what I'm referring to. Now you can also include this here, right? I did this and it led to this. Okay, this is actually part of your responsibility. Okay, I did this and it led to this. All right, so it is part of your responsibility. Let's see, the same organization again. You worked here as an IT admin assistant. Assistants, right? Let's see. IT admin assistant, I believe. Assistants, probably not assistants. You can check that. All right. So you January 2014 to 2019. I think you've been with this company for a very long time. Okay. So you set up computer land, this, that. Okay. And you can also add, the impact of this on the organization. Education, Lagos State University. All right. Degree in computer science. Good. Yeah, so this is well written. Lagos State University. Bachelor. Maybe this can start from the bottom here, right? The school name at the top, the dates maybe on the side here to make it clearer, and then you can have the date show, the start date to the end date. Okay. Then the degree, Bachelor of Science uh, in Computer Science. Okay. All right. So you have Ajayi Crowther University. Okay, Masters in Business Administration, Marketing Operations. Good. All right. So this is clear. Professional qualification and memberships. Now this is good. You have a lot of professional certification. This is good. Um, I think this is also one of the items you have here. It is not a continuation of this, is it? Yeah. So basic leadership should be a part of the bullet points. So you have a wonderful CV, right? From the education, the qualification, and the memberships. The achievement section here, very interesting. I think you should also. I'm looking at the spacing, right? The formatting here is different from this, so you should try to maintain, that consistency in the formatting. All right, as well as the wordings. I would come back to this. Trust me, the wordings, they are not very clear, and I think you should work on that. Then the case as well for your writings, right? You can do some adjustments on that. Overall, you have a great experience, and I think you should be more specific as to what you are aiming for in your next role, right? Or in your next, whatever, right? If it's a role you are aiming for, then yes, um, you are aiming to be maybe a lead enterprise architect or something, right? In the bank, or in some fintech companies. I mean, you should have a plan, so you should describe that very well here, and also tell them what you are bringing to the table, right? All these things you mentioned will show in your experience. Okay, describe yourself, pitch yourself. When you pitch yourself with a lot of things in mind, trust me, people feel confused and they feel you are not, good enough in one area, right? So try to have a brand. This is basically showing the hiring manager or the company that this is my brand, this is what I stand for. Hope that makes sense. All right. So I am actually talking about applying for an internship, not a job. I'm reading the comments right now. That is all for our review today. I hope you learned something from this session. Let me check out what we have in the comments. I'm actually talking about applying for an internship, not a job. These days, even internships are competitive, so one need to have a properly arranged CV. Cool. All right. So John Brown, well done. Charles, yeah, hi Charles. Hello Pascal. I think we're good. Amaka, if you can hear me, maybe you want to share some updates, some sessions or some crash courses. Thank you very much, guys, for attending this session. Over to you, Amaka. Hello, Amaka, are you there?
Oh, hi, Mav. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead, please. Okay, I
Okay,
think I
can
have
you
a
hear
question.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Let me quickly take this question. Are programming language
All
tools?
right.
I mean, yes, these are actually tools that you work with. Okay. Um, so what's the difference between skills, tools? So you can be skilled in a specific language, right? Maybe Python, right? So you can be skilled in Python. You can be skilled in JavaScript, right? These are part of the tools you use for work. Okay. Now that's why I said you can categorize these tools or these skills. So we have the technical skills, all right. We have the soft skills, right, or the interpersonal skills. We have the project management skills. You can categorize them and state them properly. Okay, so yes, they are tools. And if you're learning full stack development, yes, you have the things that you use for work, right? It can be JavaScript, Vue, based on what you're applying for. You must not write every single thing, right? If you have been in the industry, I've been in the industry myself for more than 13 years now, right? Started off as a software engineer, working on back end, desktop applications, WinForms, most of those old things, from 2008, 2009, right? And these are things that I've built myself over time, for more than 13, 14 years right now, in different areas, mobile development, front end, back end, web development. Currently working as a senior architect, senior solutions architect. And yes, I will not list every single thing I've done in my CV. It means it won't even fit into 10 pages, right? So you have to list those things that you find um, very important and close to what you are applying for, right? Depending on the role that you see yourself apply for. Okay. So I hope that makes sense, Obasi Ikechukwu. Thank you. Amaka, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mav. I believe we learned. Okay, sorry about that. I believe we learned a lot from the session, and for those whose CV was reviewed, I hope you put into practice what you have learned today. So basically, thank you for showing up today. This is Better Copper, and what we do here at Better Copper is teach you tech skills, help you transition into tech smoothly, as well as offer crash courses that help you catch up as fast as possible. So currently, we have some crash courses that you might like. You want to take that for software engineers. I think we currently have. If you visit our crash course page, the link is in the chat. You see we have. I think practical AI sessions, API design and development made easy, AI prompting for engineers, so you can go to the micro degree page, check out the course you want to take and take it. So we're here to help your journey be smooth. And also we have our micro degree program coming up probably next month. So you can as well go through it and decide what course you want to take. That being said, I think that's all for me for tonight. Thank you for joining this session. I hope you learned a lot. You can always leave us a review, and if you have not yet joined our Discord page, our Discord channel, the link is in the chat, so you can go ahead and join the Discord channel so that you have easy access to information and have first-hand information about our crash courses. That being said, have a lovely evening, morning, afternoon from wherever you're watching from. See you next Sunday. Bye, guys.